In 2019, the Kelowna Canadian Italian Club started a project that was near and dear to our hearts. Our goal was to record the stories of those coming from Italy to Kelowna. We wanted to hear about the world they and their ancestors left behind and the world they found here. We wanted to hear about traditions, about family, about voyages and community. We wanted to capture, for all the generations to come, their first-hand experiences. The span of this project covered almost 140 years, from 1883, when Giovanni Casorso first came to the Okanagan mission with Father Pandozzi, to the present day. Because for all that time, there has been an unbroken chain of community and contribution. The Kelowna we know today would not be the same place if it wasn't for those that left their homes, their family, and their friends behind in Italy and came here to start a new life. In phase one of this project, we have captured over 16 hours of interviews, first-hand stories, and memories.
My name is Clelia Bertolami. Romilda Marca Pandoli.
Born in Celano, province Aguila.
Celeste Bazana.
I'm Don Turry.
Caesar Turry.
Donald Ramponi.
Emma Rantucci.
Elmo Rantucci.
Rose Ramponi.
Florindo Pucci.
Alma Sperling. I can't even remember my name today, get talking so much.
We were thrilled, we were touched, and we were changed by what we heard. The stories of courage, of joy, of hardship, and most importantly, of connection. Over the coming months, we will be editing this down to a number of videos to share with the members of our club and the community. But for today, we wanted to give you just a glimpse into what we heard and saw. Any story of coming to a new home has to be the story of a bridge between the old and the new. What was left behind.
The farm had everything: fruit, grain, grapes. He made wine, and the grapes were still there in 1986 when I went back. So, and then
you walk in the street and everybody say hello, and everybody say, "Oh, come on in. Where are you going?" And so it was really nice. Yeah.
You sent a loaf of bread to all the neighbors, because then they were making bread. They sent you a loaf of bread. That was just a fresh bread, like a custom. Oh, I've made a bread today. Sent one to the neighbors. So that's.
And what was found here.
And I just turned 20 when I came here, and to be around all these people, and I was in this house. I will lock all the doors because I was scared. I was scared because I could not speak English, and people would knock at the door. I couldn't say anything, so I just shut the door. I won't answer to nobody.
it was the way of life. Sundays, everybody was closed in the house. There weren't any good films. There weren't. I don't know. The atmosphere. But
so they announced that the mine would close in 2 weeks. Everybody would be gone. So.
For many, as hard as it was leaving a home for a promise of better things.
So then, by the end of the war, we were left with, as I say, pretty well nothing because, well, the Germans obviously lived there and they took the stuff and took it to the headquarters where the meals were made. And
everything kind of, it was poor though. People were poor because they had given everything up.
So we all look forward to future, which in Italy, I couldn't see it any big future unless we were moved away from there. But there was no work available that you heard nowhere in Italy because after the war was not much work nowhere.
But in this new land full of new things, there was also the familiar, the support of family and friends.
One of the reasons why I wanted to know whether I could play soccer. I was 18 years old, and in Italy you have to play soccer. So I played for the school team and we went out and played. Oh yeah, I played a little bit here and there. So
Eventually there was a fellow that came from Italy and saw us and so asked if he could play. Certainly. So that was really nice because he was a good player. As good as us and better, I would think. Yeah.
Celeste?
Celeste, yeah.
And we had, of course, great help from my family, the tourists. And I started teaching that year.
I didn't know English, although my cousin was teaching me a lot. Cesar Turi's wife, Nita, was really good. And she was teaching me as much as she could. But
Mom was the bridge because she was fluent in Italian and English. A lot of these families would come and need to get established in the community. So, they needed.
By him going to the work at the post office, every time that they have to put a stamp on the letter, he used to go to Val. Oh, here's Valentino. And he used to do my income tax. He used to write any English paper. We used to go to Val because he was a very helpful person.
The bringing of traditions, a little piece of home here with you.
This blanket came from Italy with my mother.
This here is a wood planer which I built probably I was maybe 13, 14.
out here, people didn't make wine. There wasn't wine to be had. So he used to pour some vinegar in his water to satisfy his, for the wine. But
it was starting new adventures, building new lives.
Oh, we landed in Halifax, but we were in the port over there. We didn't know much about it. But there was my mom's cousin that was returned to Canada. She came there for a holiday and then returned to Canada and says, go and shop for food because you don't like the Canadian food on the train. So we went to shop.
I remember I was terrified. I remember the school, which I really admired the building. The school was very nice. And I was offered a class in Rutland.
Just a mining town. The streets, but no cars. There was a few cars there, but just people walked all over, and I've got a few Indians and horseback and stuff like that. It was quite a different, but it was something different, and it kind of appealed to me.
It was reshaping the land from a frontier to a community.
Giovanni Casorso arrived in Kelowna in 1883, 10 years prior to my great-grandfather, and he worked for the missionary fathers at Father Pandozzi on their ranch there for quite a few years. And while he was working there, he started his own ranch, bought some land and started his own ranch next to the Father Pandozzi mission. And then once the ranch was going, he decided he needed some help. So he wrote back to Italy and brought his friend over, Luigi Ramponi. And he arrived in 1893 to help on the ranch.
And then they had to take the cows, the horses in to clear the land. And the Casorsos could put 4 horses together at the same time and clear land.
These are the people that left their mark. The fabric of the place we call home, Kelowna, was in many, many ways woven with Italian hands. For over 140 years, since Giovanni Casorso first walked with Father Charles Pandozzi from New Westminster all the way to the Okanagan Mission, Italians have made this place, this valley, home. Each wave of newcomers reshaped the Okanagan in a unique way. As the century turned from the 1800s to the 1900s, they reshaped a frontier into one of the greatest agricultural communities in Canada.
The very first ones were the most courageous people on earth, I think.
What was it like for him to walk these walks every day? What did he see in his time when he was here in 1893?
Well, when Rosa died, she died quite young compared to the rest and stuff like that. But she concentrated on the boys a lot, because my dad and my uncle Felix, they were the ones she taught how to do a vegetable garden and fruit trees and all that kind of stuff.
As we neared the First Great War, Italians helped build the foundation of a new nation.
Yeah, Canyon, that's right. He got involved with that from the start. And he was there for a fair amount of time. And then he came back, when he came back down, frequently, each weekend, he'd come down for the day and back up for the next that night he could come back up.
And after the Second Great War, they left all they knew behind, including those they loved the most, and came here in unprecedented numbers, literally building the Kelowna we know today.
And then I went to apply to this mill workshop, which I worked there as a cabinet maker for 10 years.
The city hired him, and he actually built the wall at the end of Mill Creek by the bridge. He did all that with his feet in the, his boots in the water.
They contributed, they toiled, they celebrated. And yes, they have fed us. Because old world or new, some things never change.
I myself have forgotten so much.
Well, this brings back some of the memories for you.
Yeah, it sure does. I tell you, it sure does. It sure does.